Hey guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be looking at how I want you to construct your portfolio. The portfolio is a basic tool that artists, especially graphic designers, use to showcase their abilities to potential clients that might be just sort of passively viewing people's kind of work and stuff. So a good portfolio page is a good tool to use. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a legal. That's if I go to inches here, it's 8.5 by 14. Right. I wanted to be a little bit longer, so I could. Give us some room to kind of like stretch out and stuff. So I'll go ahead and press create. So I have this 8.5 by 14 artboard here. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to give me some margins. I'm going to give myself some margins that I'm going to be working with here. So I'm going to get myself a rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle that's going to be as big as the whole artboard. So I just lock that in place. And with my stroke, first I'll take the fill off for now. And with my stroke, I'm going to make the stroke be on the inside, a line stroke to inside. And I'm going to change this from pixels to inches. And I'm going to give this maybe like a 0.5 inch margin here. Maybe smaller, maybe 0.25 inch margin. Nope, 0.25 inches. Let's see here, 0.25 inches. All right, that's good. Okay, maybe so let's give ourselves a good margin here, and I'm going to go over here to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. That way we have this little area right here that we can lock into. What I want to do is I want to make this sort of clean. I want to make this organized and clean, and I want to make sure that everything lines up well. So let's see if we can't start off by, I'm going to see if I can't find a few designs to pop in here. Let's think here. Let me go to my pictures, documents. Let's look here, pictures, maybe. Let's look around here. Sure, this is good. No, maybe not. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just use blank images to kind of like put into the blank here. So, essentially, essentially, what we want to do is we want to start off by giving ourselves a heading. Now, every good profile, every good portfolio needs a title on it, and we want to make sure this is catchy. So we're definitely gonna be using something that's all caps. And if you want to do a serif font, that's fine. If you want to do a sans serif font, that's fine as well. But I'll just make a little rectangle that's, say, for instance, maybe 4 inches tall and 8 inches wide here. And so once again we have 8.5, so it's 8 inches wide. I'll just click on inside here, and I'm just going to write my name. So I'll say Mr. Lobello, all caps, design portfolio. And I'll make that as big as I possibly can. And I'm going to change this font. First off, I'll change this to, like, say, for instance, 72, and maybe a little less here, so it'll fit in. All right, I'll make sure I don't hyphenate it. I'll center it, and I'll make sure it's not hyphenated. Okay, so let's change this from Myriad Pro to something different. And obviously, the classic sans serif fonts like Impact or Century Gothic are good, but I might choose a different one. I might choose Lemon Milk. You might have that on your computer, you might not. It's fine. And I'll just put this down here to where it'll fit into the same thing. So that's going to be 1/4 of an inch off the top of the page based on the margins that I already did, right? So because it abuts up to this little area here, it's not going to be pushed up to the side. It's going to give some padding. That's a good, like, this margin here is a good little thing to have. So I'll pull this up a little bit. The whole idea is I just wanted it to be as big as I could, yeah. All right, and so below that, I'll do another one of these little boxes here. I'm going to give my little box here. I'm just going to put this down. And just as far as hierarchy goes, I will get my text here, and I'll change this to, say, for instance, a different font, maybe Caviar Dreams or something. Maybe if you wanted to do like a serif font, this would be the place. I'll do Century Gothic. And I'll change the font size to, say, for instance, 12. I want to say, can I say that? Okay. And I'll align this to the left here, and I'll just say the following, I'll put this in all caps, the following are examples of, the following are designs I made for an ad campaign for, and then you will just put in whatever it is that you did, right? The following are designs I made for an ad campaign for blank. And then we'll continue to put little boxes here that will kind of separate things. Now in this case, let's look. Well, how much space do we have between the two? I want to say we've got a little bit of room here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my rectangle tool. I'm going to start another rectangle that goes from here up to here, and it should give us a little clue as to how far away we want to be. But we want to make sure that it's about the same distance between, say, for instance, the title and then like the first little line, and then here, and I'll make this a bit. I'll make this sort of a light gray so I can kind of see it better. And then I'll just continue making rectangles here. So let's look at how tall is this? This is about 12.5 inches tall. So if it's about 12.5 inches tall, I want to make each one of my designs fit into a similar size box, right? So I'm going to make each one of my little pockets here, I'm going to make that about 12 inches. Let's see, I'm going to click off of here. I'm going to make each one of these things about 3 inches high. So I'll just get my anchor here, and I'll just see if I can't get this right here. The height is about 3 inches. Let's look right here. If you look right here to the right of my mouse cursor, you can see there's about 3 inches there. Okay, that's good. Okay, and so I'll just I'll change this color here to say, for instance, a darker gray, and I'm gonna Alt drag that down. 1, 2. And there's 4. Okay, so I've got 4 of these things. Let's see if I can't Alt differentiate these by just changing the color slightly here. Fill a little bit darker, a little bit darker. Whoops. Okay, so these 4 things. Now, I want to make sure these are all aligned properly. So I'm going to, first off, I'm going to get rid of this rectangle back here. And I'm just going to drag this down to the bottom. And I want to make sure they're all distributed evenly. So I'm just going to click on each one of these things. And I'm going to click on my little options for align. As far as distribute goes, I'm going to distribute them to the selection. And I'm going to make their vertical distribution on the bottom about even, right? That way they're all about the same distance apart. Okay, so what you want to do, let me just see if I can't find something to put in here. Let's take File, Place, and I wonder if I could just find a random design here. So say, for instance, this is my artboard that I did, right? This is my one ad I made, and it's a little long, but that's okay. I'll place this. And I'll place this right about here, and I'll just shrink it down here to where it'll fit inside this little box. So let me just put it right here, and I'll just shrink this down a little bit. All right. Okay, so as far as this goes, I want to give myself some room to write, and if you want, you can divide this in 2, right? For instance, if you wanted to make this a bit bigger till it reaches the center of this line, that's fine. If you wanted to make it a little bit smaller, you like maybe 3/4, that's fine too. But I'm going to center it to this box here, and so I'm going to click on my little design. I'm going to hold down Shift, click on the box here. I'll click one more time on the box. Okay, let me pause this for just a second here. Be right back. Yeah, sure. Yep, thank you. Okay, so anyways, what we have here is just these 2 things are now selected, but the one that's highlighted in darker blue is our key object. So if I press the center on either one of these things, it's going to center it right to this object. I'll sort of like have it line up against the side here, against the edge. I'll align their left edges, but I'll also center it here. And so then what I can do is I can take another square here, and I can sort of like draw another square that sort of butts up next to both of these. And once again, I can just take my text tool and I can align it to this path, and I'll have some room here. So I'll start off by saying I'll just give a little title, Design 1, and then I'll say this is a flat design vector art for blank, and I decided to create a drawing of a bedroom because because this company makes beds. All right. Oh, okay. So that's a good example of how this could work. Now, as far as making this fit inside this, I'm going to make my design one a little bit bigger just to give it some hierarchy here. So I'll just maybe make this like maybe. I'll see how big I can make this design one. Okay, so maybe not quite as big as the title here. I think that's good. Okay, and then the rest of it is probably good. Now, as far as this goes, I want to make sure this is not that this kind of gets centered in. So I'll just sort of I'll leave it there. That's fine. And if you want to make sure that you want it to fill up the entire thing, that's fine too. But the whole idea is you want this to be sort of like a line of. I'll just put this up a little bit here. I'll line this up here. And I might even pull this off to the side, just so I can give it some room. All right, that's good. Now what we'll do is I'll just duplicate this a couple times here. So I'll just take this, I'll Alt drag this over here to this corner, and maybe alternate sides like so, and I'll just drag this over here, alternating sides, back and forth, right? And so what you would do is you would place your different designs that you made, your different ads that you made on various sides of your portfolio right here, and you could just change each one of the descriptions here, like design 2, design 3. So you'd have your composite, you'd have your photo editing, you'd have various things, and just kind of describe it and describe your process. And then once you get done with all the descriptors, just go back through and just delete all of your guides here, and that way you'll be given this last little bit here. Now, as far as having some sort of padding down here at the bottom, I might want to like just drag this down to where it reaches. What about there? That's good. All right, and so then what I can do is I can just kind of group these together. Group, Control G to group. And so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll just distribute them to the selection. There we go. Cool. All right. So now that all kind of looks. So now that looks kind of nice. All right. It looks kind of nice because it's all sort of organized well. And if someone were to like kind of scroll through this, they could kind of like look one by one and discover what you do and how you do it here. All right. Cool. Well, so this is the last thing. Make sure that you were double checking the rubrics. Make sure that you were double checking how these things should be made. And I will see you after the break. See you later.